Welcome to Raven Explains It All, a podcast that explores different topics such as how to use crystals, or working with tarot and oracle cards, learning about mediumship in the afterlife, and just more things about divination and using your mind and tools to grow and learn. And now, here's your host, me, Raven Jade. Hey everybody, this is Raven Jade, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Raven Explains It All. We are on episode 2, and I am excited. So this week we're going to be talking about divination and different methods of learning how to use divination. So you're kind of, wondering or asking yourself, what is divination? Which I'm going to be very honest with y'all. Sometimes I get tripped up on the word, and when I was trying to record last night, my kids were laughing at me at how many times I said divination. So yeah, I'll be saying that a lot during this podcast. But what divination is, it's a method or tools used to figure out maybe the future or to maybe understand different circumstances that are going on around you in your life and others' life as well. So I'm going to be touching on at least 11 divinations that people still use to this day. And I'm further along in different podcasts. I'm going to take each one and go into them a little more in depth. Okay. So the first divination tool we have is tarot. And I'm actually a tarot and oracle card reader. And I love using tarot because it's very specific to the energies that are around you. So there are 78 cards in a tarot deck. And you have where it's divided into two sections. There's the major arcana and the minor arcana. The major arcana, when they come up, these are like big events that have happened in your life. And the minor arcanas are the ones that they're actually little day-by-day stuff, not very, big, but they do play a part in your life, okay? And then there's 4 elements to the tarot cards. There is, your wands, which is the fire signs. Then you have cups, which is water signs. You have swords, which are air signs. And you have pentacles, which are earth signs. So again, I'll get into a little more in depth, more about tarot as we go on through the podcast. Different podcasts for another time. But that's just a little rundown on a little bit about tarot. And of course, like I said, it's more in depth than some methods, divination tools, because let's say you pull 4 swords. 4 swords can tell you the meaning for the card is rest or needing rest. So your querent, or which that is what the person's called that actually is asking the questions, they may be tired or run down. They may be stressed out. And also another thing with tarot, and I know you see a lot of tarot cards in different kinds, and you may wonder, well, if it's a set system of what each card represents, why is there so many different tarot cards, like the designs? Because with tarot, not only do you know the meaning of the card, but you're also using your intuition and actually looking at the imagery on the card to help you focus on what the querent or what the person that's asking the questions is trying to figure out about, their life or, their love life, as a matter of fact. So definitely I love using tarot because it's very specific. It may not, pull out a name. You got to use your intuition for that. But it can guide you in the right step of what's going on with your person that's asking the questions. So the next divination tool that we're going to talk about, or I'm going to bring up, is Cartomancy. Cartomancy is where I group oracle cards in and also playing cards. So this gives a little broader, a little more broader approach when it comes to reading people. And I always love, there's this meme where it has this one person who's an oracle card saying it could be this, that, and this. And then you got Whoopi Goldberg's tarot card saying, Molly, you in danger, girl. So oracle cards are a little more broad because they're not getting to the definite situation, but they can give you an overall general look at what's going on with your client's life or what's going on around them. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So the next divination tool that people use to tell the future or situations around them is astrology. So astrology is the use of planets to tell, a person's mood, a person's behavior, things that go, that's all around them actually. So when we're born, the planets align, you had a certain planet in your sun sign, which is is like your life force, okay? And there are 12 houses with astrology, and each house represents a part of you, a part of things that go on in your life. So it's great to get a birth chart done so you can understand yourself a little bit more and why you do the things you do or what planet is kind of influencing you at that time. And also it's great for, let's say you're in a relationship and you're like, why are we not, connecting? What's going on? So you do your birth chart and this other person's birth chart, and you can see what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, things of this nature. So that's when you're using astrology. So the fourth divination tool that we're going to talk about is Ching, or the Book of Changes. So my daughter actually liked when I started talking about this one because she thought it was pretty neat. And it's one of the oldest divination tools from China because it originated in China and they still use it to this day. So what it is, it's actually getting messages from the yin and yang polarities. So everybody heard of yin and yang energies, the male, the female, the good, the bad, or where they say good or bad. But it's not all bad. It's not all good. It's the polarities of each kind, one end of the spectrum. So with I Ching, what you do is you have 3 coins, or some people actually use rice. And what you do is you concentrate on your question and you throw the coins out. And depending on how the coins lay, they're either yin or yang, and other combinations as well. And you have to throw this out 6 times. And it's going to make 6 lines, basically, of how the combinations came out. And what you're going to do, you're going to look them up in the Book of Change. And when you look in this book, when you look in the I Ching book, it tells you what the combinations mean, what they stand for, okay? So like I said, I'll touch more on that when we actually do our I Ching podcast. Don't know when we'll do that, but we will definitely get into it. And this actually helps you with the philosophies of life, or philosophies of what the question is that you were concentrating on when you asked about your question. Sorry. So the next divination tool that we're going to talk about is Cartomancy. So Cartomancy is actually when you're throwing bones or dice to give you a meaning of a situation. And I've seen where people had like chicken bones, bones of an animal, and they've thrown it. And I would love to get my one of my friends. He's a great healer and he deals with magic. His name is Lucian. And he actually works with bones, casting lots, Cartomancy. So I would definitely like to get him on the show so he can go more into depth about it and explain like how he reads the bones or how they come out to him. And again, there's also like dice. If you have like a certain certain numbers come out, then that is a meaning for you. Okay. So definitely if you're into Cartomancy, throwing dice and throwing bones, that might be a good place for you to, check out and start working on your gifts with. So with the next one, we have Dowsing. And dowsing is holding an object and letting it swing and doing like yes or no questions. A good dowsing method that I've seen is pendulums. And pendulums are actually great if you want a yes or no question really quick. One of my mentors showed me how to use, how to work with your pendulum, how to figure out what it's saying with the yes or no. But the thing I want to emphasize when you're using pendulum, a set outcome to what you're trying to know about, because you have a way of influencing your pendulum as well. You want to be clear-minded, know your question, know which way, yes or no, and let it go, okay? So the seventh divination tool we're going to talk about is lithomancy, which is actually throwing stones. Just like claromancy, but we're using like stones, crystals to tell the future or to give clear guidance to what you're trying to search for or look for in that. Now, some people, they do a circle and they throw the stones into the circle to see whether they're finding out about themselves or about a situation around them. I've seen where readers have done maybe 2 or 3 stones. I've seen 13. And I've even seen where they've gone up to 42. Each person has their system or method when reading stones. So again, I would like to get someone that does it, because I don't really use lithomancy, but I think that would be a very cool very cool divination tool. Just learn more about yourself as well. So the next divination tool we're going to talk about is numerology. So numerology is the use of numbers to tell about your life and about situations around you. So a lot of people use numerology to find out their life path numbers. We all have life path numbers. And to get your life path number, you actually add up your numerical month, day, and year you were born. And let's say you end up with 2-digit number. So let's say you end up with 35. You add the 3 plus 5 and you get 8. And then that is your life path number. And you can look those things up and actually find out a lot more about yourself. So that is numerology. So the next divination tool that we're going to talk about, number 9, is actually scrying. And scrying is actually looking into a crystal ball or a reflective image and seeing images that can help tell the future and, like I said, situations around you. So you know how you always see the picture of the fortune teller and she's looking in a crystal ball? Yeah, that's scrying. Now, some people are very good at that. They open their minds up and in tune with their crystal ball. Some people like to use clear quartz crystals. I would love to hear if you use scrying method, what are the types of crystals that you use to help you come up with this imagery. So definitely, this is a good tool if you're looking for a future or looking for answers. And like I said, I feel like it's more working with imagery. I haven't worked with scrying, to be honest with you. And it might be something I would like to look into in the future. But yes, that's what scrying is. So the next divination tool we have, number 10, is Teslagraphy. And Teslagraphy is about reading tea leaves. So I actually was on YouTube and I saw this very interesting where you want to find even level tea leaves, and you want to not cut open the bag and read them, but you actually want to get loose leaf teas as well. And with the tea reading, it's actually more reading the leaves and seeing what images come up, like letters or letters, numbers, and images. And this can help the reader as well, let people know what's going on with their lives, or whatever the question is that the current has for them. Okay. So the final divination tool we're going to talk about is palmistry. So palmistry is reading the future with the person's hand. And I know, like, from basics, you have a life, heart, and headline. And basically, the lines on your hands actually, tell a story. They tell a story about your life. And one of the things I always thought was fascinating, like if you had too many lines on your hand, you were very stressed. And that's kind of common sense because, when you get mad or upset, you want to ball your fist. You want to keep balling your fist. So that actually would come think true, but it's more than that. They have like on the side of your hand where it's marriage line, how many kids under your fingers. Like I said, I'm just touching bases just a little bit on it. But again, this is reading someone's future or reading situations in their life using someone's hand or the palm of their hand. Okay? So as you can see, there are a lot of divination tools. There's some that we haven't even, touched on. I might do a part 2 of this and add a little bit more. So there's so many divination tools out there that can help you decide, what your future is or what situations are going on in your life. But, it's finding the one that you are most comfortable with. Okay? So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I am so thankful and blessed that you have. If you can like this podcast, and if you're on Apple iTunes, please subscribe, or whatever you're listening to, subscribe, and that way you'll be notified when another podcast pops up. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Raven Explains It All. Do you have a topic that you would like Raven to discuss? Email her at mysticravenjade@gmail.com. Interested in learning more about metaphysical topics? Join Psychic Intuitive Readers of Clarity on Facebook. And don't forget to check out Raven at Mystic Raven Jade on Facebook and YouTube. Have a blessed and wonderful day.